Football Show. The epitome of morality and virtue, a man with whom you could and would totally trust your wife, your daughter, your little boy, even your precious little pets, overnight, while you're out carousing. We're in New York on the EIB network to Los Angeles. And Phil, hi, glad you called. Welcome to EIB network.
Yeah, hi Rush, how are you?
Fine, thanks.
I wanted to make a comment here regarding the whole reason these riots happened last April. I'd have to say that a lot of people around the nation, they don't realize what's gone on here in Los Angeles. We have had a massive invasion of illegal immigration. And a lot of that has centered in the South Central LA area as well as all over Southern California.
This is absolutely true.
And I can tell you that incident where the officers were acquitted was just the tip of the iceberg, okay? I can tell you that what really was going on there is there's a lot of people that are displaced from illegal immigration. They're out of work. They're being undercut from jobs. It's an absolute shame what's happening here. And
here, you are absolutely right. I tell you, this is a problem that people outside California really don't. Everybody has a problem with illegal immigration. Nobody, of course, supports this. But the people in Southern California, from Los Angeles on down, really are impacted by it economically because, and the Mexican government is culpable here because the Mexican government doesn't do much to stop it because people are a drain on their economy as well. They're perfectly happy for the immigrants who want to leave, and it's just a surface effort, if you will, and hardly sincere or serious to stop them. And what happens is that these illegals cross looking for economic opportunity. This is, after all, the United States of America. Do the gates test. Put gates around the country. Raise the gates. What happens? People run in or run out. Well, you raise the gates on the borders here and they run in. We don't even have gates on the borders. Come on in. And once they're here, it's tough getting rid of them. And they'll come and they'll work. This is why Zoe Baird got in trouble. The problem with illegals is they lower the wage scale because they'll work for far less than what the American pay scale has risen to, and that's attractive to certain kinds of employers. After that happens, after they come in and impact negatively the employment situation, then of course there are welfare benefits, which are easily and free-flowing, easily obtained and they're free-flowing. And then there are medical benefits and health care. An illegal will come across, suffer an accident or get pregnant or whatever and need to go to a hospital, and guess who pays for it? And you want to know what else? The federal government demands that those people be cared for, and then they say to the state of California, you pay for it. So the federal government has all these regulations. Yep, if an illegal gets hurt, if an illegal gets pregnant, if an illegal does anything, needs health care, welfare benefits, fine, you pay it, California. And California's in a mess because they've got these federal laws to follow and they don't have the money for it, and their economy is sinking because there's massive unemployment. The defense budget cuts are impacting California quite profoundly. And so you're absolutely right with this, Phil. And I think that until that is handled in a more professional and reasonable way, that the economic distress that exists there is not going to be that much resolved.
Absolutely right. I mean, if people could only come here and see what's happening, they would just be shocked. I mean, it's not like we're talking a few 100,000. It's a few million that have come here from like, say, the last 15, 20 years.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm going to have to look this up, but in 1979, the amount of money California paid to illegals in welfare and health benefits and so forth was around $5 million, and it's like 5 times that, or maybe it's over $100 million. Now, I'm going to check that, but it's gone through the roof since 1979.
And Rush?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually been very involved in finding out a lot of facts and information regarding this, and let me tell you, when you start digging deeper than what's on the surface, it is absolutely horrifying. It is terrifying. It is just tragic what's happening here. We're talking last year alone, an LA County study showed that education to illegal aliens and their children in LA County alone was over $1 billion.
Right. And it's people outside the state. There are some people inside the state responsible for it, but in large part, the people outside the state, a bunch of good-intentioned liberals telling everybody else how they must live and what they must do and how they must act in order to be compassionate and caring and this kind of thing. You've been saddled with a bunch of laws and regulations and financial burdens from people who are not offering to help you pay for it.
That's it. Everybody's passing the buck, and I'm telling you, it's destroying this whole area. It's that bad.
Now, you've really hit the nail on the head with that. That's a good point. I'm glad you called, Phil. Sierra Vista, Arizona. Joe, you're next on the EIB network. Hello.
Hi, Rush.
Hi.
I'm calling from Just Beyond Hope.
Just Beyond Hope.
Yeah.
Hey, look, as long as we're on the air here and growing through the roof as we are, there's reason for more than hope.
Well, I figure the whole country lives just beyond hope.
Really? How so?
Well, because of the Clinton administration.
Yeah.
I wanted to call and I wanted to talk about that, but I tell you, the thing that this Powell deal has brought up reminds me of what happened to us here in Arizona on the Martin Luther King Day. We got double jeopardy too. You know, we never got it right, and they just kept putting it on the ballot.
Right.
And they put it back, and they did it 3 times, and finally the poor people of Arizona got it right. So now we've got a Martin Luther King Day.
Well, you know, that's kind of what these economic boycotts are all about. You have an election, the democratic process governs, and somebody loses the election. The losers say, that's not right. The people of the state blew it. Well, we're going to punish them. And they institute these boycotts until they pressure people into getting it right, as you say.
Yeah, that's it's exactly what happened to us, so I can certainly sympathize with what's going on in L.A.
Yeah, okay. It says here you want to talk about the Republican spin on the stimulus package?
Well, yes, I did. You know, just one time, I'm kind of running an emotional gamut here. First thing that happened to me with Clinton was the incredulity, and then it went to frustration, and then extreme depression, and then elation when you decided to take on the whole Democratic Party.
Sounds like you've been involved in a country western song.
Almost.
Yeah.
Well, I'm back to frustration.
How so?
Just one time, I was watching C-SPAN yesterday. Just one time, I'd like to see a Republican leader get up and tell the Democrats and say, all we're doing is abiding by the wishes of 57% of the people in this country. And you are ignoring those wishes. And therefore, for us to remain true to our morals and our character, we are going to take a stand against what you're doing.
Well, I don't know if they're saying it in exactly those words, but that's what Bob Dole is saying. But look at this is a problem. Look at what they've done. They did what you wanted them to do. They just hornswoggled this thing. They held it up. They stopped it. Now, oftentimes, actions, and I think this is one of the problems we have with television, one of the television generation. We don't look at what people do anymore. We simply listen to what they say. If you want to know if you want to have insight into this administration, don't listen to what they say. That's just going to screw you up. Your head's going to be swimming. Look at what they do. Look at what they have done. And look at what the Republicans have done here. I mean, Dole, this is a courageous thing to do, to try to stop this. When everybody in the world thought that the Democrats were going to have a slam dunk on this, anything they wanted to do, you ought not be depressed. Now, see, this is a problem. I'll tell you what you want. After it's all over, when you hear your Democrats on television on C-SPAN, you want to have some Republican get up and point a finger at them and say, hey, buddy, you want the visceral reaction to go along. I understand that. I really do understand it. But they've got a lot more things to do together, and they don't want to. It's not necessarily wise to go out here and start doing things that are going to make enemies of these guys, because they already are. You don't need to pile on.
Right. You know, I've renamed the Clinton administration. I used to work with a fellow on the railroad, and every time something would go wrong, he'd say, well, things have gone awry. So that's what I've named the Clinton administration, just the awry bunch.
Well, no, I've just been a good point has been recently made to me. We don't want it getting too bad. I suppose a real emergency comes up and we're in trouble. So we may have to move in. If it continues to slide, this show may have to move in here and save it to a certain extent. We'll think about that. Don't panic until I fully explain it to you. Back in a moment.
You're listening to the EIB Network.
There are a lot of conservatives out there, a lot of conservatives like me on radio, a lot of conservatives on TV, and a lot of conservatives who write what they think. So, what's the definitive source of conservative thought? Other than me? Why, my friends, it's the Conservative Chronicle. This is a weekly publication. You get 52 issues a year. It's only $39. You know what it is? It's the epitome of the heart of conservatism. All the nationally syndicated conservative columnists in this country and their work reprinted in this publication every week. There's no single source, no better source you can refer to. If you keep every issue, you are building a database that's accessible by a very detailed table of contents of some of the finest, profound conservatism ever assembled. The Conservative Chronicle, $39 a year. Here's the number to call, 800-888-3039. That's 1-800-888-3039. Call them now.
What would you do if you won $1,000 in WRAL's Bold and Beautiful Bucks contest? You could buy a small mountain and become a yak herder. Go on a 6-state shopping spree.
I want this. I want this. I want this.
Or do something sensible, like pay off your credit cards. Nah. It's up to you, because starting Monday, you could win $1,000 in WRAL's Bold and Beautiful Bucks contest. Each day at 1, during the Bold and the Beautiful, one of 366 birthdays will be drawn at random. If it's yours and you're the correct caller, you win $1,000. It's that easy. So start thinking bold and beautiful, like vacationing in the Bahamas. Oh, a trip to Vegas, baby. Oh, blackjack. You lose. Or buying that giant clam-shaped bathtub you always wanted. So watch and win in the Bold and Beautiful Bucks contest, starting Monday only on WRAL.
Bobby Denning Furniture takes this time to remind you, Friday is the Shriners Chicken Fry. Get your plates for eat-in or takeout at the Old Goldsboro National Guard, or drive-through takeout at Herman Park Center and in Mount Olive on Highway 55 beside Robert's Machine and Supply. Plates are served from 11 till 2 and from 4 till 7 with half a fried chicken, coleslaw, potato salad, roll, and iced tea or coffee. All proceeds benefit the Wayne Shrine Building Fund, not for the Crippled Children's Hospital. This invitation from Bobby Denning Furniture, East Ash Street, Goldsboro, and Brazil Avenue, Mount Olive.
At Guardian Care, their commitment is to make every resident feel comfortable in an environment where all the security and comforts of home are ensured. They provide quality, long-term skilled nursing care. Guardian Care also provides short-term stays so you can take a week or two for yourself and still be confident your loved one will receive excellent care. So give them a call, 735-4427, or stop by for a tour. Look for the sign on Forest Hill Drive just off Highway 70 Bypass, Goldsboro. A tradition of caring. Guardian Care of
Pension
Goldsboro.
Committee and
Always on the right. This is Rush Limbaugh on Goldsboro's very own WGBR. To the phones at 1-800-282-2882 to Dallas. Hello, John. Glad you called.
Hey, Rush and dittos from Dallas.
Thank you.
Hey, this Waco thing just proves one thing, that you should never put your complete faith and confidence in another human being who's not Rush Limbaugh.
Well, that is a conclusion that one could draw from this, one of many.
Hey, Rush, the reason why I called was what should be the Republicans' next step? I think they should stay on the offense. What if they said, okay, no middle-class tax cuts? Increase.
Well, let me answer this way. Because I agree with you, they've got to stay on offense. The next step for the Republican Party, Senator Dole, Senator Graham, John Kasich, Jack Kemp, Bill Bennett, all of you who are listening, here's your next step. Come up with your own plan. Don't just oppose this one. Come up with your own. And you guys, all of you get together and come up with a way to convince yourselves that the 80s were good, because until you get Republican unanimity on that, all the rest of this is academic. The whole reason Bill Clinton survives is because they have convinced people that the 80s were horrible, that only cheaters, liars, and otherwise dishonest people did well in the 80s. It is one of the most damaging revisions of history in modern times to take the period of greatest economic prosperity since World War II and try to convince people that they didn't deserve it and that it didn't happen. And the Republicans have got to get back to those policies, because that's what caused economic growth, a small deficit, and prosperity for people. And that's what this should be all about. So you guys, you got to get together. You've shown you can stop this. Come up with a better proposal. Stay on offense. And the proposal is based on empowering people and making them economically independent and prosperous. That's what you got to do.
Jim used to worry a lot about his company's future.
If something happens to me or my brother, what'll happen to our family business? Would we be forced to sell? Would the business stay in the family? Now, we need to get this all sorted out.
Jim didn't know then that business insurance could give him the answers he needed, until the CNA insurance companies guided him and his brother with professional estate and business planning. Today, Jim's mind is more at ease.
My independent agent recommended CNA. CNA specialists showed me how linking life insurance to a buy-sell agreement between business partners could help avoid a forced sale. They also helped us with estate tax planning so we could keep our business in the family. Now, it turns out CNA is one of the few insurance groups that provide professional estate and business planning advice. CNA really surprised me. I thought I'd get a policy, but I never thought business insurance could work this hard.
Ask your independent agent about the CNA insurance companies and how CNA can work harder for you. CNA, for all the commitments you make.
We're the talk of the town, 1150 WGBR. From ABC News, I'm Gary Nunn. President Clinton today joined a long list of dignitaries in Washington. He helped dedicate the U.S. Holocaust Memorial Museum. Vice President Al Gore says the museum raises a number of troubling questions.
What terrible darkness lies coiled in the human soul that might account for this barbarism? The sorrow rising from such questions is deeper than all tragedy and leaves us mute before a mystery the human mind cannot penetrate.
The Vice President says the story told in the museum warns of the power of evil. Nobel laureate and Nazi death camp survivor Elie Wiesel told President Clinton that we have learned that when people suffer, we cannot remain indifferent, asking for the U.S. to act to stop the civil war in what used to be Yugoslavia.
We must do something to stop the bloodshed in that country.
Mr. Clinton is considering using military force in the former Yugoslavia, saying that ethnic cleansing in Bosnia is the most brutal and changed example of evil in the world today. Alabama is changing governors today. The lieutenant governor will be sworn in. The story from Montgomery, reporter Blake Scott.
As he becomes Alabama's governor, Jim Folsom Jr. is following in his father's footsteps. As lieutenant governor, the 43-year-old Folsom automatically succeeded Guy Hunt when Hunt was convicted of violating the Alabama ethics law. The senior Folsom, known as Big Jim, was a colorful fixture in Alabama politics for many years. He won the governor's office twice, in 1946 and 1954. Blake Scott for ABC News, Montgomery.
Heavy rains and extensive runoff have caused the Mississippi River to be to its highest level in 7 years in many places. Water levels are as much as 5 feet above flood stage, especially in Iowa. The high water has forced the Army Corps of Engineers to suspend river traffic between Muscatine, Iowa and Hannibal, Missouri. You're listening to ABC News.
What kind of paint would you use inside your own house if price were no object? Well, it isn't anymore, because Sherwin-Williams is rolling back prices during their price rollback sale. Right now, you can pick up a gallon of Style Perfect interior flat latex wall paint for just $8.99. Well, that's a great paint for a great price, folks. So now you've got a choice. You can spend less at Sherwin-Williams or settle for less somewhere else. The Sherwin-Williams price rollback sale ends May 22nd. So get rolling.
Ow, you stepped on my toe.
Sorry.
Okay, now how do you feel?
Low, so low I see into your toe.
Now visualize that image to say I'm sorry in Spanish.
Low, see into your toe?
Lo siento means I'm sorry.
Oh, that's easy. Lo siento.
You too can learn Spanish, French, German, or Japanese. So don't say lo siento, I don't understand. You can. It's easy and fun with National Dynamic Speed Tapes. Just call 1-800-545-1985. 1-800-545-1985.
Now that the siege at the Southern Ohio Correctional Facility has ended, FBI and prison officials are conducting an extensive search of the lockup for damage. ABC's Chuck Siebertson reports from Lucasville.
Prisoners got their hands on weight training equipment from the gym and other heavy materials that make excellent battering rams for vandalism. The area under siege was huge and really torn up, says FBI's Ed Bolt.
It has to be understood that L Block is an extremely large structure. It has not only the cell blocks, but there are numerous offices, crawl spaces, air conditioner ducts, all of which could hide evidence of crimes or the missing inmate.
FBI and prison officials are planning their investigation today into the murders in the prison uprising. Chuck Siebertson, ABC News, Lucasville, Ohio.
One inmate still unaccounted for in Lucasville. Britain's education minister says that moral values will be stressed under new guidelines for sex education throughout Britain. He says parents, not teachers, should be put in the source of sex education. Wall Street Dow Jones Industrials are up 28.07 at 3467.51. The volume right now, 205,050,000 shares. The trading is heavy. This is ABC News.
TGI Fridays presents sports anchor Chris Berman.
The subject, the new spring menu. That is the sound of Cousin to the Banana, plantain and coconut fried shrimp. A smack of fresh peppers, onions, mushrooms, and more hitting a hot skillet. It must be. It is. Vegetable, no meat allowed fajitas. And finally, the sound of key lime pie. Why do I talk this way? I don't know.
The new spring menu at participating Fridays. 10 mouth-watering reasons everyone looks forward to Fridays.
For the ABC Information Network, I'm Gary Nunn.
Here are some of today's Here are some of today's top WGBR news stories. A blue mold alert is on for Wayne County area tobacco growers. Tobacco transplanting about 2 weeks behind, but it's finally getting underway. Strawberry harvest delayed by as much as 10 days. A Goldsboro man faces 2 charges of taking indecent liberties with children.
For details on these stories and other late-breaking news of Goldsboro and Wayne County, stay tuned to Goldsboro's very own 1150 WGBR.
And for today, it'll continue partly cloudy for the rest of the day and windy. Going to clear skies overnight. Tonight's low between 35 to 40 degrees. And tomorrow, luckily, it'll be sunny and warmer. Tomorrow's high 70 degrees. Right
Hello,
now,
Americans. I'm Paul Harvey.
As we return to the Rush Limbaugh Show on WGBR.
It's the Rush Limbaugh program. We are here in New York City, high atop the EIB building, and glad you're with us.
This is a special edition of the Rush Limbaugh program, America Held Hostage. And now from our studio York City. Here is Rush Limbaugh.
Thank you, John Donovan. It's day 93, ladies and gentlemen, of the Clinton presidency, the raw deal, known as a hostage crisis. 1-800-282-2882 if you would like to be on the program. Couple little housekeeping items here. A new rush room to announce. These things are popping up all over the fruited plain. As you know, Newsweek magazine calls them the last havens for paranoid white guys. It's in their most recent cover story on paranoid white guys. They do one every 6 months or so. They just call it something else. Mondays from 1 to 4 at the Celebrity Den restaurant in Syracuse. New rush room is opened. Also, I got this fax from the Briggs Lawrence County Public Library, main library in Ironton, Ohio. It's from Jimmy Epling. Dear Rush, our library is sponsoring a series of monthly book discussions. In the past few months, the books have been A River Runs Through It, the novels of English author Miss Reed and Oliver Twist. I have prevailed upon the library to be allowed to lead a discussion on your book. It's proven quite popular at our library. That's library, for those of you in Rio Linda. With a dozen people still on the waiting list. That's a small waiting list. Some libraries have 150 people on the waiting list. In fact, you know what I was going to do when I first heard about this? When I first heard that there were waiting lists of hundreds of people at libraries, just trying to relate Rio Linda to libraries, I said, well, that can't be. I'm going to donate some books to these libraries. And I looked into it. It was a lot of libraries that had, 1 or 2 copies of the book, as they have of most books, and all these hundreds of people. It would have been a major, major, major financial undertaking. Anyway, this is a departure rush from the usual book discussions. To my knowledge, this is the first library-sponsored discussion of your book. We'd be honored if you mentioned this discussion on your program. So when is it going to be? They got a press release here. It's going to be April 25th, Sunday, 2 o'clock. Well, no, it has not been squelched in Ironton, Ohio. Obviously, the left has not, either they haven't heard about it, or else they intend to try to disrupt it some other way. But as far as we know, no attempt to stop this foray into free speech. Fascism, Nazism, bigotry, homophobia, sexism, and all that, since it's being a conservative book that's going to be discussed. The left has not deemed it necessary to go in and stop this yet. But yet is the operative word. But I would urge those of you at the Ironton, Ohio Public Library who persist in this despite the obstacles that, and they may not be any. I mean, it may be everybody in Ironton's a big fan. Whole town may show up. What else are you going to do on a Sunday afternoon in April in Ironton, Ohio? I mean, the NFL is not on. If they were going to do this in the fall with football games, then I say it won't work. But, so I'm flattered. Discussion of the book. But they have more people show up than they plan on. It always happens that way. Let's see what. Oh, Dan's Bake Sale. We have an update. Go ahead, Dan.
America, Dan's Bake Sale is coming soon.
Discounted Dan, Rush Limbaugh's fan, to acquisition, Limbaugh's edition. He'll raise some money, enrages honey, Dan's baking cookies.
Coming soon to Fort Collins, Colorado, to help Dan raise money to purchase the Rush Limbaugh newsletter. Dan's Bake Sale. Buy a cookie for conservatism.
We'll raise some money, enrages honey, we're baking cookies.
Dan's Bake Sale, the Old Town Square. It's Saturday, May 22 in Fort Collins, Colorado. And the event here continues to swell. You ought to see my CompuServe mail. Rush, are you going? Are you going to go, Rush? I mean, I am getting inundated with mail from Colorado, particularly Denver and a number of places, but also outside the state of Colorado. As you know, this is a bake sale to raise money to buy a subscription to my newsletter, Dan K. called here one day, said that he had been receiving photostat copies of my newsletter. I threatened a lawsuit. I said, it's a violation of copyright. You can't do that. Why are you doing that? My wife, he said, won't let me spend the money to buy your newsletter because she hates you. Time's a little tight, so I don't have the discretionary income. And I was going to be nice and give him one. I thought, nope, we're not going to make him a ward of the show. We're not going to create a dependent member of the audience. We're going to make him earn it, appreciate it. And since bake sales in the 3rd grade have become a popular way to reduce the national debt, I figured, why not a bake sale? To get a copy of my newsletter. So it's going to happen. What did we say yesterday? 500 vendors? Is that right? You got Dan on the line? You got Dan of Dan's Bake Sale is on the... Well, let's go... Hey, Dan, how are you?
I'm doing great.
Are you really?
Yeah, I've been busier than a Kennedy at happy hour.
Well, that's good. You must be enjoying life, then.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us, what's the latest scoop?
Well...
Give us the latest details on all that's going on at your bake sale.
Oh, Brennan's chef is working through a local restaurant called the Green Pepper.
Right.
And so he's definitely going to be here.
Oh, good. So they're going to send the pastry chef from Brennan's in, the dessert chef. Wait a minute. Maybe they're going to send the head chef, Mike. Would you know who it is?
No, I don't know right now.
Doesn't matter. Whichever one they send, it's going to be a treat. Brennan's in New Orleans. Breakfast at Brennan's is something that every American ought to be able to do one time. And part of breakfast at Brennan's is bananas Foster, and so I think that's what they're gonna make, right?
I think so.
Yeah. Oh, I tell you what, this is going to be great. So I'm glad to hear that they're coming. I knew that they would. What else going on?
Well, let's see. For entertainment, we've got one band already lined up. Band from Arizona called Dark Horse. They're sort of a country rock band. And we're
now, how did you get hold of them, or did they get hold of you?
They got hold of me. They sent me a demo tape, and they sounded good. And since this is Colorado, we need country music. And we have the Rocky Mountain Cloggers are going to perform.
The Rocky Mountain Cloggers?
Yeah.
And what do they do?
They clog dance.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, how fascinating. Now, that would go perfectly with arts and crafts type displays.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we're working on a trivia contest, provided that you and Bill Bennett show up.
A trivia contest?
Right, a rock and roll trivia contest.
Oh, that's okay. Kind of like a Name That Tune contest.
Right.
Yeah, I have spoken to Secretary Bennett, and he is not yet certain whether he can make this or not. But and nor am I. But we're getting close. We really are getting close. And I'm not trying to tease or string people along here. I just don't want to. I don't want to commit before I can, and I've already got one other commitment. But yeah, Bennett has had this bet on the line for a long time that he's better at identifying 50s and 60s rock and roll tunes than I am, and he wants to do a contest. So, well, maybe that'll happen. What else you got going?
Well, let's see. Home Federal local bank has already donated $1,000 to the local Red Cross in the name of the bake sale.
All right.
And
so it's already. We already shown a profit here before the things even happened.
Right. Yeah, I've even had to open up a business account for the first time in my life.
How does it feel?
It's really weird.
Are you not enjoying this, though? I mean, has this been, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but has it been an educational experience for you?
Oh, yeah. I'm learning, how not to procrastinate and just how to use and work with people, because we're just getting thousands of volunteers and, trying to pair them up with what we need done. It's learning a lot in organization.
Now, how's your wife?
Oh, she's fine. She's really looking forward to May 23rd.
The day afterwards.
Right.
Now, is she going to be part of this?
I think
or what we're going to go visit her mother, maybe.
One of the things that we're considering doing, but we haven't decided on it yet, is she would bake cakes and I would ice them with my signature. And so they would be put a little certificate with them for us to sell.
Well, how entrepreneurial. Autographed cakes by Dan, baked by his wife, a family effort. This is a major step forward because, remember, she had refused to participate in the baking at first, hadn't she?
Not really. We just hadn't discussed it before.
Oh. All right, now how about the city fathers and the city mothers?
Well,
are they still a little bit trepidatious about this?
Not really. I've gotten a lot of help from Ellen Zabel from the Downtown Business Association, and she's working out getting the permits and getting the streets closed off, and she's handling all the vendors. And it's going to be 50 booths, not 500.
50, okay.
And
a major discrepancy in my information that was provided, but that's good to have the correction.
And Randall Kine with KCOL, he's coordinating the entertainment.
Right. Now, how about the mayor? The mayor was not happy about this. The mayor was upset that it was going to cause a big mess and that I wouldn't pay to clean it up. Now,
well, the mayor's not the mayor anymore. We had a city election between then and now, and so there's a new mayor, and we haven't heard anything either pro or con from them.
From the new mayor?
Right.
Oh, gee, you've had a mayoral election?
Yeah.
In this, well, gee, wonder if, well, I don't even want to speculate. It's just the people's will has now been demonstrated.
Well, I don't know that it had anything to do with it.
I don't want to assume that either. I doubt it myself. No, I get carried away there for a moment. I hardly think that the citizens of Fort Collins would vote on such a specious manner as a bake sale when such important city issues as no doubt exist there are on the ballot. Well, I tell you, this is all an amazing lesson here, folks, because what we have here is a young man who called here in search of a subscription to my newsletter, needing $29.95, and look at what's happening. An all-day fun event for the purposes of generating. By the way, now I have said that you are going to donate whatever overage here or to charity, right? Do you have the charities that you're going to benefit?
We haven't gotten those all decided yet.
Okay, well then we'll wait on the announcement of that.
And then.
But that's very good of you.
Right, but the money that Kelly and I raise from what we sell, that's going to be our own.
Kelly's your wife.
Right.
Yeah, because out of that you got to buy a subscription to the newsletter.
Plus whatever extras from that is going to just go to our family fund.
Right. As it should. As it should. If people want to enrich your family fund, that's exactly, find out exactly how easy it is to do that out there by selling something. Well, Dan, best of luck to you, and we'll stay in touch.
Okay. Oh, can I say thanks to just one more person? Jack Jolly from Root Outdoor. He's been just a major help in all of this.
Well,
also.
Absolutely. Jack Jolly, Root Outdoor, got 15 billboards going up throughout Northern California.
Northern Colorado.
I'm sorry, Northern Colorado, too, but yeah. Maybe he'll put some in California now since I've said so, to encourage people to drive in. But it's I-70, right, that they could probably be up on. And that'll just steer people right into where you are. So,
yeah, it's going to be a huge event, fun time for all. You know, most of the hotels are getting a lot of bookings.
Let me ask you something, Dan, before we go here. There has been, I have been of the impression that you, at the beginning, wanted me to come out. Do you still feel that way?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. I think it would be just really great for you to come out. I'm really looking forward to meeting you if you do. And, you know, a lot of the local citizens have been, you know, asking and really looking forward to it and hoping you can make it.
Well, I do too. I think it'd be a great way to spend a springtime Saturday afternoon. And best of luck to you. Thanks for keeping us posted. We'll talk to you a couple more times before the event. That's Dan K., Dan's Bake Sale, Fort Collins, Colorado.
Get ready, America. Dan's Bake Sale is coming soon.
This kind of Dan, wrestling boss fan, to acquisition, Limball's edition. He'll raise some money, enrages honey, Dan's baking cookies.
Coming soon to Fort Collins, Colorado to help Dan raise money to purchase the Rush Limbaugh newsletter. Dan's Bake Sale. Buy a cookie for conservatism.
We'll raise some money, enrages honey, we're baking cookies.
You're listening to the EIB Network.
Now, folks, remember, they come at you fast out there. These guys are tricky. They're not talking wage and price controls, handouts to everybody, scapegoating. Their schemes in pursuit of political advantage are never ending, and you won't get any help understanding it all from the dominant media culture. No, you need the Limbaugh letter. A subscription to my newsletter is like a year's scholarship to the Limbaugh Institute for Advanced Conservative Studies. Every month, folks, you receive my keenest insights to help you see through this dense liberal fog. Now, coming up in the May issue, I discuss the failings of Clinton's economic plan with economist, author, and columnist Thomas Sowell. This is must reading. I also provide a penetrating commentary on why the left was and will always be wrong. Protect yourself, your friends, and family against the Washington liberal agenda with my newsletter. Call 800-457-4141. Get 12 issues for the low charter rate of $29.95. That's 800-457-4141.
Before we can say mailboxes, etc., and Western Union are giving away Caribbean cruises from Princess Cruises and Cruise Holidays, we have to say,
open to U.S. and Canadian residents 21 or older. Void in Puerto Rico, the province of Quebec, and where prohibited.
You can also win a $2,000 prize from Western Union in MBE's 2000 Center Sweepstakes. Of course,
Michigan and Ohio residents may also receive an entry by sending a self-addressed stamped envelope to be received by May 5th, 1993, to Box 4923, Blair, Nebraska, 68009.
Get details and enter by April 30th at a Mailboxes, etc. Center. Oh, yeah.
No purchase necessary.
Fine.
Scott Motor Company has been selling and servicing fine motor cars since 1922. And right now, they have the best selection of fine Cadillacs and Pontiacs that they've offered in many years. You can have the elegance of a 93 Cadillac or the excitement of a new Pontiac at a special deal. Scott offers rebates up to $2,000 or 4.9% APR financing. Get all the details at Scott Motor Company on the Highway 70 bypass across from the Holiday Inn. And when you're there, see the 1993 all-new Fleetwood Cadillac rear-wheel drive. Learn about the safety of a Cadillac, the performance of a Cadillac, especially the North Star system. A motor so dependable, the first tune-up is recommended at 100,000 miles. In that large selection of motor vehicles, you'll also see a large selection of minivans. You know, Scott Motor Company has the car or minivan that you're thinking about. So visit Scott Motor Company, Highway 70 bypass across from the Holiday Inn, Goldsboro.
A Caitlin's occasion, you know your family likes to get together. You know it's only right, good memories last forever. When the workday ends and you're among friends, you'll come back again. Make every day a Caitlin's occasion.
Caitlin's in Cobblestone Place on Spence Avenue. If spring sewing is on your mind, a reminder that spring sewing starts with the new home sewing machines at Creative Sewing Center on Berkeley Boulevard across from Adamsville Baptist Church. And they're featuring the new Memory Craft 4000 that puts computer sewing within reach of everyone. They have sergers as low as $249, a Mother's Day special of $199 on New Homes Model 108, and a combination serger Memory Craft 4000 deal that can save you $200. Visit Creative Sewing Center, Berkeley Boulevard across from Adamsville Baptist Church, and then start sewing and saving with New Home.
With half his brain time behind his back, here's more Rush on 1150 WGBR.
Playing some of the finest bumper music known to exist as bumper music in all of radio, all of broadcasting. Rush Limbaugh redefining greatness here on the radio. Chapel Hill, North Carolina. David, glad you called. Welcome to the program.
Hey, thanks a lot for accepting my call.
You bet.
I just want to know that I'd like to let you know that I'm a college student, and I schedule my classes around before 12 and after 3 so I can listen to you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. And I just want to know, I read the paper USA Today a lot, every day I try to, and it's just, it bothers me a lot to hear you read that letter that Powell wrote and to see what happened in the verdict, to see them get, tried and found guilty, because I just don't know who to believe, who to trust. So, because I give adults that are running the country nowadays the benefit of the doubt as being correct.
How old are you, David?
19.
You know, one of the things that you're going to face as you grow older, that's always going to be a dilemma, who to believe. I mean, there are a number of instances in life, be they in court or not, where do you believe the Democrat or the Republican in a presidential candidacy campaign? All these, that's why That's why, I mean, you're educating yourself, and you will continue to do that after you get out of school. And the more education a person has, the better able you are to come to your own conclusion about something based on all the information you can gather about it, which is why I decided to go ahead and read Larry Powell's letter. Now, you mentioned USA Today. Don't forget what USA Today did. USA Today, and they've apologized for it, and they have corrected it, and they've admitted that they committed an egregious error, but they still did this. They put a picture on the front page which showed gang members in Los Angeles armed, all kinds of guns and ammo draped over their shoulders like Stallone and that character he has, Rambo. And it turns out they had asked the gang members to pose that way and had gone out and gotten the guns for them, and here posed this way. And this was before the trial began or during the trial. And then it was learned, the gang members got mad because the story then portrayed gangs as just waiting for the next excuse to blow up the city. And somebody said, wait a minute, they asked us to pose that way. So, you know, if you heard that or not?
No, I haven't
seen
heard
that one. Okay.
But that's part of the stuff that bothers me is how somebody can do something like that, or how the judge in the Rodney King trial can tell the jury, you know, how they can find intent, you know, how he changes that. It makes the jury, and that just seems so wrong.
Well, let me tell you something, David. This is the thing. Our system, over the long haul, balances out quite well. It is a perfectly normal, logical, and okay thing to find fault with the outcome of a particular case, to think the jury was wrong. For example, I think the second trial was bogus from beginning to end. I think it was double jeopardy. I think it's a political trial. I think the only point here was to get it right. And I think these guys are sacrificial lambs. Pure and simple. But that's the system. Now, I don't like the outcome. What am I going to do? Go burn down my house? Or go, you have to act in a civilized manner and respond in a civilized manner. And that's what would happen in the first trial. People didn't. And the dangerous precedent that's been set now is that what was done to see to it that those who caused trouble in the first place were mollified and didn't cause trouble the second time around. And now we have the Senate Majority Leader, George Mitchell, running around talking about, hey, if a city goes up this summer because we don't get the stimulus package, it's not going to be laughing time, is it, Republicans? So that's a threat. We got the chairman of the NAACP saying the same thing. So I think that is all the evidence you need to judge what the purpose of the second trial was. I can sit here and say to you that I think this judge did things that he did to make sure his house didn't burn. A lot of other people, if you listen to the media covering the trial, they'll say, hey, we got an appeal-proof case here because the judge bent over backwards to give the defendants a fair trial. Well, the defendants don't think that, and a lot of other people don't think that. And there never is going to be a single solid conclusion you can come to. It's going to be much like this thing down there in Waco. We're going to have to trust whoever tells us after they've conducted the investigation how the fires really started and so forth. You're going to face these dilemmas all through life, and that's why you should just try to expose yourself to as much information on any given subject that interests you as possible. That's a large reason why you should continue to listen to this show.
That's why I will. Thanks a lot, Russ.
All right, glad you called. Thanks so much. Yeah, I mean, this is, I think, a good lesson. Not everybody gets what they want in life. And, you know, the right thing doesn't always happen, but you have to continue to strive for it. And when the right thing doesn't happen, you have to try to correct it within those elements or within that venue where the wrong occurred in trial, in court, not on the streets. Back in a moment with more calls. Don't go away. Hello, you people. Rush Limbaugh here. You know, it's alarming but true. People do judge you by the words you use. When you speak well, you command respect. You move ahead faster. Verbal Advantage, Achievement Dynamics' best-selling audio cassette word power program, will give you the words you need to communicate with confidence and flair. And with Verbal Advantage, all you have to do is listen. To learn more, call now. 1-800-28-TAPES. That's 800-28-TAPES.
Time for another WGBR GGO